Hello guys, is my voice clear enough?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Before we start the course today, I would like to remind you all to open your camera. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vina Damayanti. As a facilitator today, before the course starts, let's pray according to our respective religions. They begin. Finish. Today's course is about Indonesian legal history by Dr. Anom Wahyu Asmorojati SHM Bung as the speaker, and Uni Sulasi Putri SHMH as the translator. So Dr. Anom was born in Yogyakarta, November 17, 1979. She was a law lecturer in constitutional law. She took her bachelor degree in Universitas Islam Indonesia, master degree in Universitas Jayabaya, and doctoral degree in Universitas Islam Bandung. This is the research recently. She also have a research with UTT Malaysia in realization of ASEAN consensus on the promotion and protection of the rights of migrant workers in a disruption era, and also the part of Ristek Dictree, and also the Majelis di Libang PP Muhammadiyah. And this is the scientific papers. The urgency of village meditation institution as a mechanism of dispute resolution, and also the insertion of anti-corruption education into Islamic educational learning based on neuroscience, and also article Law, Politics, and Women, How were Aisyah cadres involved in the party. That's a brief introduction of Dr. Anom Wahyu Asmorojati. To Dr. Anom Wahyu Asmorojati, please start the course today. Time is yours.
Thank you very much, Vina. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mom.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning,
ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Understanding the law and the legal culture in Indonesia. Thank you for all participants from University of San Antonio, Philippines, and also from Kapsu University and University of Malaya. I hope all of you are still excited to join the program, and I feel very happy to be here because I can meet students from various universities, even though it's only in a Zoom screen. Yes. Today, I will deliver the material of Indonesia legal history. The first, I will share about some important points about the law in Indonesia. Indonesia is a very large country with abundant natural wealth. Unfortunately, Indonesia was colonized for a long time by other countries. This is certainly very influential in the formation of law in Indonesia. Well, I will start our lesson today with introduction of Indonesian law. As you can see on the screen, an introduction to understand the existing law or applied law in Indonesia, it means not only written law, but also unwritten law. In Indonesia, we have written law, also unwritten law. Maybe in your country have the same condition or different. It means you are ready to read dozens of books or journal or papers. Are you ready? Everything is easy if what do you think? Okay, next, Vina. What is law? Law is a set of regulation, of course, and then made by authorities, and then contains strict sanction. And the last cursive, we call it in Indonesia we call it ada aturan, dibuat oleh pejabat yang berwenang, mengandung sanksi dan bersifat memaksa in Indonesian linguist. And then next we have what is the function of law? What is the function of law? Law is made to protect, rule, and keep the balance of rights and obligations. Of course, the purpose of law is to justice, certainty, and also benefit. We call it kemanfaatan, keadilan, kepastian in Indonesia. Okay, then after this, we can see in our screen, Mbak Vina, the history of Indonesian law. Maybe we can remember the history of legal politics in the implementation of the legal system is a record of important events regarding the Indonesian legal system in the past, which need to be known, remembered, and understood by every person in Indonesia. Next, after that, we can see 3 phases of Indonesian legal history. We have 3 phases. The first is the pre-colonial phase. Pre-colonial, we call it sebelum masa kolonial. During the pre-colonial period, Indonesian legal system was still territorial, based on the territorial limits of each kingdom in the archipelago, such as Sriwijaya, Pajajaran, Singosari, Majapahit, Mataram, Kutai, and so on. Yeah. The relevant legislation also conforms to the applicable legal standard and evolves in its kingdom area. Then, the embryo of the Indonesian legal system, which had previously been dispersed over every area in the kingdom, started to crystallize with regard to the colonization of the Indonesian people by Europeans, Netherlands especially. And then the second is colonial phase. After the pre-colonial, we move to colonial phase. What about the colonial phase? In this phase, since the conclusion of the VOC era in the 17th century, the colonial phase continued for 3.5 centuries with a repressive legal system in optimal form. Yeah? The purpose of the whole legal system is to assure the preservation of trust and order and the maintenance of colonial authority for the economic benefit of the Dutch state and country, not for the benefit of the people. Unfortunately, trust and order also lead the implementation of legal unification by the Dutch East Indies administration. This oppressive nature of the judicial system is reflected in beberapa ya, we call it beberapa, ada beberapa ini. The first, we have British East Indies Company or VOC in period 1602 until 1799. The years of 16 until 1799. Dutch merchant formed the VOC, and the VOC held unique rights in the form of the maritime and commerce monopoly, the right to construct a fort, and the right to declare war, make peace, and then declare war. And then in the years of 1710, Governor General Peter Booth issued laws to handle particular situations based on the requirements of VOC workers, and he also had the authority to determine civil and criminal matters. This is in colonial phase, and then such a part in the colonial phase, we know that Dutch is in this government period. after the VOC, we enter to the years of 1800 until 1942. On January 1800, the Batak Republic government assumed control of the VOC area and changed its name to Koninklijk Holland. Koninklijk Holland, yeah. During that period, the archipelago adopted government regulation and Dutch law. Denles ini very famous Dutch people in Indonesia. Denles, we call it Gubernur Jenderal Denles. Yeah. Denles was named Governor General and thereafter split the island of Java into 9 residents until right now. Yeah. Until right now. In 1811, the British governor, the archipelago with Lieutenant Governor Thomas Stanford Raffles in charge. After Denles, and then Thomas Stanford Raffles. In the spirit of law, Raffles places a premium on the makeup of the court, which mirror to composition of the court in India and includes, maybe next slide, Mbak Vina. A division court at we call it Wadana atau Demak, yeah, minor and civil offense charged with a maximum fine of 20 OIN. And then B district court, or we call it Bupati, ya. Bupati, Penghulu, Jaksa, Bumiputra, employees, ya. Adjudicate civil case, for adjudicate civil case. This is still in colonial phase, yeah. And then C, President Court, President, Bupati, Hof Jaksa, Hof Penghulu, criminal case with non-death penalty treats private and civil case exceeding 50 European side. And then the last is a court of circuit. Court of circuit, head and a member. Death penalty, possible felony case are handled by a mobile court system. And then the archipelago was transferred to the Netherlands in 1816 as the consequence of the London Convention of 1814. Since then, the history of legislation has been split into 3 legislative periods. Yeah, this is still in colonial phase. Yeah. The first, the Sluiten-Roegerings period in 1814 and the years until the years of 1855. At present moment, only the monarch has the authority to create an issue, or we call Algemene Verordening. This is Netherlands language, not in English language. Yeah. Algemene Verordening. This is a Netherlands language. Rules, or in English, central regulation. Yeah. In English, we call central regulation. In the sphere of law, the rules that apply to the Dutch people have not altered since the VOC was not replaced or repealed. Since they are awaiting the codification or Dutch national law, then it's important for the Dutch East Indies to establish a code of civil law and to form a law commission for the Dutch East Indies charged with completing the organized or to completing, excuse me, Vina, to large space. Okay, this is then it's important of the Dutch East Indies to establish a code of civil law. We know in the Indonesian law, we know that a civil law and common law. Of civil law and to form a law commission for the Dutch East Indies charged with completing the following regulation. The first is Reglement of Redslids Organisasi or RO, yeah, or Courts Organization Regulation. And then next, Algemeen Bepalingen van Wetgeving or General Provision concerning legislation. And the Burgerlijk Wetboek, now BW, in our country is still, yeah, until right now, Burgerlijk Wetboek. And then the Wetboek van Kophandel or WVK, we call it, or Commercial Code. And then Reglement, and the last of the Burgerlijk Rechtsvordering or law in civil procedure. Okay, and this is the first for besluiten regeling periods in 1814 until the years of 1855. So long time ago, yeah. Maybe you imagine, oh, so long time ago. Okay, next. Number 2, Regering's Reglement period. It starts from the years of 1855 until 1926. In 1848, the Netherlands amends its ground, resulting in modification to the governance and law of the Dutch colony in Indonesia. We can see in Article 59, paragraphs 1, 2, and also paragraph 4 of the Grondwet State. In Clausule 1, you can see the king has absolute authority over the colonies and royalties in the region. And next, the Clausule 2 say that the government's policies are governed by statute. The monetary system is governed by legislation. And the last, in this reglement period, we have clause 4. It says, if required, matters pertaining to colonized regions and assets shall be governed by law. Okay, according to the information, we can explain that the incorporation of these rules into fundamental government regulation enacted for the benefit of the Indonesian colonies in the form of law. Because known as the regulating reglements, known as the regulating reglements. Yeah, regulating reglements is Netherlands language, Dutch, yeah, Netherlands language. And then in 1920, the regulating reglements modified several articles, which become known as RR, new. It's become new regulating reglements. Next, we are going to the third part of this material. In this start regulating period, is began from 1926 until 1942. At this time, the 1955 regulating reglements were altered and converted to the Indies Stat Regling or ES. Yeah, which went into effect on January 1, 1926. Yeah. Ini on January 1926. Yeah. We can 1925. Yeah. The page on 415. And then Article 131 of the Indies Stat Regling contains its legal politics, which is an exact duplicate of Article 75 RR, regulating reglement, new version. Yeah, we have new version of reglement in 1926 until 1942. Okay. Next is Japanese Army period. After we discuss about pre-colonial phase and then colonial phase, we going to Japanese Army period. In this time, the Japanese armed force were implementing governance in Indonesia in accordance with the Gansei Statute. Gansei Statute. Yeah. Currently, the legal system of the Dutch East Indies is still applicable as positive law. Change to the composition of judicial bodies, revision to the procedural legislation, and the imposition of harsher penalties for breaches of criminal law were the only significant change in the Japanese army period, this Japanese army period. And then still Japanese army periods. Next slide. The composition of judiciary based on Gansei consists. If in pre-colonial and colonial phase, we know that the reglement, in this Stadtrechtling, in this Japanese army period, we know Gansei. Gansei is consists of Tihohoin, yeah, came from Landren, or in English district court. Kalau in Indonesia we call it pengadilan di daerah ya. And then Keizai Hoin came from Landkreis, hakim kepolisian ya in Indonesia, or in English judge police. And then Ken Hoin came from region Jepgerich or Kabupaten Court, Kabupaten. In Indonesia, we call it Kabupaten. Ya. And then Gan Hoin came from district Courts, or we call Kawadanan Court. Kawadanan. Ya. And then next, Kaikyo Kutu Hoin came from Hafur Islamic Second. Or in Indonesia, we call it Mahkamah Islam Tinggi, or in English, High Islamic Court. This is still in Japanese army period. And then Suryo Hoin came from Priesthood, or we call it Rapat Agama, or in English, religious meeting. Religious meeting. Maybe you can compare with your country, maybe in Philippines, in University of St. Anthony, or in Capsu University, or in Malaya University in Malaysia. We have one participant from Malaya today. And then the last for this part is Gansei Kensatu Kyoko, came from Tiho Kensatu Kyoko. This is Japanese language. Japanese language. If Japanese language, and then in English is High Court Prosecutor, came from Paket for the Landreden. This is the Japanese language. And then Vina, okay, this is the last period. Yeah, see, it's the independence period. Independence period is very dynamic, yeah, in Indonesia, because we have 7 presidents until right now in Indonesia, from 1945 until 2012. We have 7 presidents. One in the part of independence period is old order period. Old order period. We call it old because yes, so long time ago, the first time in our Independence Day, yeah, On August 18, 1945, President Sukarno, the first president of Indonesia, is President Sukarno. He is a very famous people, not only in Indonesia, but in the whole of the country in the world. President Sukarno. And Muhammad Hatta. He is also vice president, famous, very, very famous in all of the world. Were named vice president of Indonesia, and the 1945 constitution. We have constitution we call 1945 constitution was enacted. We call it Undang-Undang Dasar 1945 until right now. Since that time, the positive legal system in Indonesia consists of the following subsystem. We have 3 subsystems in Indonesia from the independence period. The first is adat law subsystem, and then Islamic law subsystem, and then the last is Western law subsystem. There's 3 until right now. Yeah, adat law subsystem, Islamic law subsystem, and Western law subsystem. During this time period, political dynamic took the form of legal politics and were divided into the following periods. Next, Tina. The first period is during from 1945 until 1950. Only 5 years. Yeah, for a first period is only 5 years. During this period, the procedural law led the simplicity and consolidation of the judiciary into the district court, high court, and Supreme Court. District court, high court, and Supreme Court. 3 courts in this period. During this time, the Dutch military aggression 1 and aggression 2 occurred, leading to the start of the independence struggle. In December 1949, or 5 years after we have declared our Independence Day, the Round Table Conference, Konferensi Meja Bundar, Round Table Conference, was held in Hague, and which result to change in the Indonesian constitution, namely for unitary state to a federal one with the adoption of the United States of Indonesia Constitution, or we call it RIS Constitution, Republik Indonesia Serikat. Federal one, ya kan? Unit change from unitary state to a federal state in 1949. And then the federal state last replaced the RIS Constitution with the Provisional Constitution of 1950. The United States of Indonesia Constitution is just for 1 year. Just for 1 year implementing in Indonesia, and then 1945 restoring the unitary state of the Republic of Indonesia, or NKRI, Negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia. We come back to the unitary state, the form of Indonesian country. The first form Indonesian country is unitary state. Until right now, we have unitary state. Okay, and then the second period, Mbak Vina, after 1950 until 1959, 9 years. During this time, the administration was successful in passing a number of laws and regulations. Of course, yeah, conducting democratic general election and forming a constituent body, And then enacting emergency law number 1 of 1951, temporary measure to organize the unity of structure and then power and procedure of civil courts. The government also made significant moves in the area of law enforcement. Okay. Regarding the development and debate of the state constitution as successor for the 1950 constitution, which was the mandate of the 1950 general election. There was an ideological dispute that was difficult to reconcile with the constituent body at this time. And then on 5 July 1959, the army issued a presidential decree reinstating the 1945 constitution and disbanding. And then you can see in this screen, the army issued a presidential decree stamping the 1945 constitution and disbanding the constitution body. Okay. And then the third of this period, next. The third period is 1959 until 1965. 1959 until 1965. The presidential decree on 5 July 1959 marked the commencement of President Sukarno's plan to run a government based on guide democracy. The majority of the provisions mentioned in Book 2 of the Civil Code are no longer applicable, as indicated by the product of contemporary law, especially Law Number 5 of 1960 on Agrarian Basic Regulation, on we call it UUPA, Undang-Undang Pokok Agraria. We call it law in Indonesia is Undang-Undang. Maybe in Malaysia has similar or different. During this time, there was an ideological struggle between communist force, which led to the PKI, Partai Komunis Indonesia. This communist force is very famous in Indonesia, and nationalist and religious force. Three parts of the ideological struggle in Indonesia in this period: communist, nationalist, and religious force. Maybe until right now, which led to the PNI and Masumi and picked by the armed force, especially the army. The dispute exploded in the form of the G30 SPKI movement. This is the movement of communist force in Indonesia in 1965. 30 September 1965. This is a part of our history. It's unforgettable for our community in Indonesia. G30 SPKI movement. A failed coup attempt by the PKI. This failure broke down the administration of guide democracy, paving the way for new leader and anti-communist political force, devoted to the objective of transforming all aspects of national and state life, the implementation of Pancasila and 1945 Constitution, of course. And then next period is from 1966. Jadi, Mbak Vina can help to replace the slide. new order period. What's the important in the new order period? The new order period was inaugurated with the March from 11 March 1966. We have starts the new order periods in 11 March 1966. We know that Super Semar, ya, ada surat perintah 11 Maret. Currently, government policy formation refers to the development trilogy. What is the development trilogy? We can see in our screen the first, equitable growth and its outcomes result in wealth and social fairness for all Indonesians. Yeah, the first is equitable growth and its outcomes result in wealth and social fairness for all Indonesians. And then second is high economic growth. High economic growth. And then the last, robust and dynamic national security. This is the new order period. And then after the new order period, we move to, I'm sorry, this is still the new order period. Okay, next, Mbak Vina. We are still in new order period. We are still explained in the new order period. Produce law product. In this new order period, we have product law organic to implement the 1945 Constitution based on the terms of MPRS Decree number 20, the years of 1966. And then MPR Decree number 5, 1973. About the order of legislation as the executor of the 1945 Constitution mandate. It consists of 6 things. The first is Constitution of the Republic Indonesia, of course, yeah, the higher regulation, Constitution of Republic of Indonesia. And then after that, MPR Decree or People Consultative Council Decree. And then number 3 is law or undang-undang or government regulation in lieu of law, or we call it perpu, peraturan pemerintah pengganti undang-undang. And then number 4 is government regulation, and then number 5 is presidential decree, and then number 6 is other implementing regulation such as minister instruction and so on. Okay, and then next, Mbak Vina. During this period, we are still discuss about the new order period. During this period, legal development was separated from political development and established as its own discipline. The execution of legal policies in this new order couldn't, however, be carried out in a suitable manner. However, be carried out in a suitable manner. Instead, the new order government administration just the law for the sake of power. The statutes for the state administration system coincided with the onset of a global economic crisis that impacted the economies of Indonesia and Asian nations. In order to improve the constitutional framework of the new order administration, Indonesian students and academics led a cup that in the name of reform. On May 21, in the years of 1998, when President Soeharto is the second president of Indonesia after President Soekarno. The first president is President Sukarno, and then President Soeharto. The second president resigned from his post as president of Indonesia. The campaign was successfully. Yeah, this is a very important moment in our constitutional history in Indonesia. In 1998, a special moment for our society in Indonesia. Okay. And then next, after this, we are going to Bavina. We are going to reform order period. I have already mentioned that the new period is very important moment in 1998. We have a special moment for our constitutional histories, especially and generally from Indonesian legal history. Reform order period, the Reformation order was a political decision to change the 1945 constitution via legal politics. This is the amendment to the 1945 constitution. People's Consultative Assembly, or MPR, which consists of a total of 16 chapters and 37 articles, amended the constitution 4 times between 1999, the years of 2000, the years of 2001, and then the last amendment is in the years of 2002. The before amendment, the 1945 Constitution consists of 65 items, including chapters and verses. And then how about the 1945 Constitution after amendment? We can see that after amendment, the 1945 Constitution consists of move to 197 items, yeah, from 65 to 197 items, includes 26, 43 change, and 128 newly added items. Yeah. It's so large item, 128 added item. Ada new item in our constitution after amendment. Yeah, of course, this is our legal history. This is very important. And then after amendment, we can see, Vina, next slide. The composition of the 1945 Constitution with 4 amendments has the following structure. Number 1 is Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia of 1945 original text. We have original text before we have amendment. And then second, Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, first amendment. This is in the years of 2000. And then the third amendment is Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia of 1945, second amendment. And then number 4 is Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, third amendment in the years of 2001. This is 2001 is the third amendment. And then the last is Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia of 1945 in fourth amendment. Fourth amendment has been published in the years of 2002. Yeah. 20 years ago. Yeah, it's so long time. Yeah. Right now is the years of 20 and 20, but we have amendment in our constitution more than 20 years ago in the years of 2002. This is our history. Right now, we not yet a new amendment. Yeah, it's still just 4 amendment. The last amendment is the years of 2002. Okay, and the next for important part in our history of Indonesian legal history is establishment of law regulation in Indonesia after the reform order. Okay, we move to establish of law regulation in Indonesia after the reform order. Reform order is starts from 1998 in Indonesia until right now. We start the reform order from 1998. Reform order, of course, from Indonesian legal history too. Okay, number 1, regulated in reform order. The first is law number 10, the years of 2004 on establishment of legislation. This is the law number 4 regulations, the law in Indonesia after reform order. And then the next is law number 12, the years of 2011. Okay, on establishment of legislation. And then number 3 is law number 15, the years of 2019 on the amendment of law number 12, years 2011 on establishment of legislation. We have so many law in Indonesia. So many law, and we can see on the screen the last 4 reform order to regulation. Law regulation is according to law number 13, years of 2022. Law number 13, yeah, the years of 2022. On the second amendment of law number 12, the years of 2011 on establishment of legislation. It's very long history in Indonesia. Indonesian country have a long history in legal history. Okay, next, Mbak Vina. Thank you very much for your attention. Maybe any question you can share to this moment. We can discuss about this material, and I hope you enjoy our lesson today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mom.
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 Mom.
Okay, thank you to Dr. Anom Wahyu Asmorojati SHM. Maybe there is any question?
Maybe you can share how about in your country about the maybe Philippines legal history, maybe you can compare how about the Philippine legal history and Indonesian legal history, maybe, or in Malaysia. From Malaysia, just one student, yeah, just one student from Malaya University. Who is from Malaya University? Are you in our lesson from Malaya University? You are just one. Maybe from University of Saint Anthony? From Kepsi University, Joanna Grace, your raise hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The discussion was very informative, ma'am, and I have realized that, like the Philippines, the Indonesian have suffered so many colonizations, ma'am, like the Netherlands and the Japanese. Same as in the Philippines, we have also suffered from colonizations from the Spanish, American, Japanese. Just there are so many. And you have said that the Japanese period in your time, the criminal charges are very much vital and fatal to the people of Indonesia, ma'am. And in the Philippines also, ma'am, the Japanese period is very crucial, ma'am, because as you know, we have the death march, ma'am, the death march in the Philippines, and that things happen in the period here in the Philippines, and the Japanese still contributed in teaching the Philippines how to do so many things, like the skills-oriented things, ma'am, in the economic state, ma'am. And I think what makes me happy is that the Indonesian and the Philippines have so many things in common, ma'am. Like, of course, the Islamic law. I have read some of it, ma'am. And in the Philippines also, ma'am, even though that we are predominantly a Christian country, still we all have we still the Islamic it's really that's all what I want to say. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the information.
Miss Joanna Grace.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Would you please repeat the last question that you mentioned, because it's a little bit there's an issue here to hear you right. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
You are audible, but there's like echo in your voice.
I'm sorry, mom. I'll just say it again, mom. I just said, mom, that the Philippines and the Indonesian legal system, ma'am, is has various laws, ma'am, but they have also their similarities, ma'am, like the Islamic law, ma'am. In the Philippines, we also have Islamic law, but it is only implemented in the Muslims here in Mindanao, ma'am. And I think that's very interesting, ma'am. That is all what I want to say, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Joanna.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Ibu Anom.
Thank you, Joanna Grace from Kepsu University.
Ya, tadi Mbak Joanna mengatakan ya di Indonesia dengan di Filipina ada perbedaan persamaan. Salah satu persamaannya adalah ada juga hukum Islam di sana, tetapi mungkin tidak semasif di Indonesia ketika diberlakukan gitu. Mungkin ada respon dari Ibu terkait dengan itu.
in Indonesia and Malaysia, I'm sorry, and Philippines, yeah, Capsu University, Joanna, and Philippines, the same and different. Yeah. Indonesia, most large Muslim people in Indonesia. Maybe in Philippines we have Mindanao Island or what in the South Philippines, Joanna? I forget in the South Philippines in the Muslim community. What island?
Mindanao, ma'am. Mindanao.
Mindanao, yeah. Mindanao, yeah. But in Mindanao Island, yeah. Mindanao Island is more than large population of Muslim.
Yes, ma'am.
Iya, mungkin Bu Uni bisa menginterpreter ya untuk jawaban dari saya. I'm sorry, Miss Uni Sulasi Putri will deliver the answer for your question. Jadi ada persamaan dan ada perbedaan karena memang Filipina dengan Indonesia meskipun sama-sama dulu kan dijajah oleh Belanda, Nederland ya, tapi tentu ada beberapa perbedaan karena pertama Muslim di Indonesia secara kuantitas jauh lebih besar. Jadi seperti yang sudah saya jelaskan tadi, di Indonesia itu dulu ada Partai Masyumi, Partai PKI, Komunis dan Nasionalis. Ada 3 itu dan sampai saat ini pun sebetulnya masih ada 3 itu sehingga berbeda mungkin dengan di Filipina yang masih minoritas seperti itu ya, sehingga kita Muslim kita kan memang lebih mayoritas sehingga dalam pembentukan hukumnya juga memiliki porsi yang lebih besar dalam membentuk hukum itu sendiri. Itu kalau di Indonesia seperti itu karena di dalam partai politik juga banyak partai politik Islam gitu kan dalam pembentukan hukum. Kalau di Indonesia kan hukum law itu kan dibuat oleh DPR dan Presiden. Nah, melalui kalau DPR kan partai politik. Nah, partai politik itu kan banyak partai Islam juga gitu. Jadi porsinya di situ. Bu Uni barangkali bisa di transfer dijelaskan ke Mbak Joanna dan other student in our program.
Okay, terima kasih Bu Anom. Thank you Bu Anom for the answer. So Ms. Joanna, this is the response from Bu Dr. Anom Wahyu that indeed in Indonesia and Philippines, in an issue, it has a common Islamic touch law, but at some point it is different because in Indonesia we have a larger community of Islamic people here, and it happens from long time ago. History said that we have 3 biggest political parties since the colonization era, which is we have the nationalist one, we have the communist one, and we have Islamic political party ones. And it goes flies until now that we have many political parties with Islamic-based concept, and therefore somehow the regulation as well have many Islamic touch as well, because indeed regulation comes up from the political parties, and in Indonesia we have we try to make a balanced position between the legislative and executive so that both president and the legislative can propose for the regulation, and in one side, the legislative one, which is House of Representatives, they are coming from political parties, and the political parties, we have a lot of Islamic political parties, and therefore that's why our regulation in Indonesia, a lot of Islamic touch. It has some kind of positivization of Islamic rules, but not all. So yeah, that's that I can say. Maybe any other question? I see that Miss Christine Buala used to be.
Miss Uni, I want to ask Joanna,
Yeah.
are there any Islamic political parties in Philippines? I want to know about the Islamic political parties.
There
In the
is
Okay.
Are there any Islamic political parties in Philippines, Joanna? Are you still in our Zoom, Joanna?
Joanna?
Okay, berarti next participant, Ivy.
Ma'am. I think there is, ma'am, the what we call right now the Bangsamoro in Mindanao.
Oh,
There are political parties. Yes.
Islamic political party. One,
Yes.
just one Islamic political parties in.
Yes. Right now, ma'am, in the Philippines, that's the acknowledged parties or political parties in the Bangsamoro.
Or what? Just one Islamic political parties, yeah, in Mindanao.
That's what I know right now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
there are some, but the acknowledged one right now and the biggest one is the Bangsamoro.
Okay, thank you for your information. And next, maybe Ivy. Raise hand. I see in the screen. Friends Manuel. Friends Manuel, are you in microphone? Okay.
So yes, ma'am. She's right. That is Bangsamoro, ma'am. It is like the Bangsamoro Autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, ma'am, and that is located on the lower part of the Philippines, which is the Mindanao, ma'am, the Mindanao Island, which is mostly composed of like Muslim people, ma'am, and they have autonomous region, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for your additional information. You have a beautiful hair, or
Beautiful style of hair.
you seven time to your hair our screen. Rans, thank you, Rans, for your additional information about the Islamic political parties in Mindanao, Philippines. Any other student have to give information? Or Kens? Friends from Kep's University, are you still in our Zoom meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to share information or any question for this material?
Yes, ma'am. I already lowered my hand since I have the same answer with my fellow Kapsunians. The Bangsamoro political party is a major Islamic political party which is based in Mindanao here in the Philippines. That's all, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Francis, for your information. I have very interested about the information of any political Islamic political parties in Philippines. Although the okay, next student Kens Erwin Tungala.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning,
Kens.
everyone. It's Kent, ma'am. It's pronounced as Kent.
Kens, you from San Antonio or Cape?
I'm from Capital State University, ma'am.
Okay.
I would like to share also, ma'am, that the Bangsamoro or the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in the Mindanao is an autonomous region wherein they are governed by the Islamic law. They are being authorized by the Constitution of the Philippines or by the specific law or the Bangsamoro Organic Law, which in that region they implemented the Islamic law. That's all. That's my
in the regional countries, just for Mindanao or all of the Philippines?
in that autonomous region only, ma'am. But
Oh.
there are some Muslim communities that practicing also the Islamic law, but it is safe to say that in that specific region they are authorized, or they can run the Islamic law as what it is, because there is a conflicting laws, or in the Constitution of the Philippines, that there is a conflicting if because the Philippines, the 1987 Constitution is derived from the civil law, or from the Roman, and from the American law. So it is conflicting if there is no autonomous region, or if they, because the Islamic law is not embedded on the Constitution of the Philippines. That's my knowledge regarding that.
Okay, thank you for your another perspective of the topics of Islamic political parties. Yeah, it's very dynamic, yeah, and I think the Islamic law is different, but Indonesia and Philippines, yeah, usually, yeah, Muslim have special portion, ya, special portion in the conduct of law. Jadi seperti itu. Okay, thank you, Ken, for your information. Maybe any other students or any other participant want to share about the experience or another information about the Philippine legal history according to the material I shared today. From Malaya?
Ya, Bu Anom.
Ya.
Iya, tadi. Oke, ada pertanyaan dari Andono ya.
Di
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Am I audible? Yes, ma'am. Okay, am I volume? Sorry for that. I just want to ask some little things about what we've learned today. You've mentioned, ma'am, about some countries that invaded or colonized Indonesia, like Netherlands, am I right? And also Japan. And I just want to know also, here in the Philippines, we invaded some countries like Americans, Spanish, and Japanese also. What are some customs or traditions, or maybe some what are influenced by Japanese invader or yes, some Japanese that uh, that Indonesia adapt from that country? Some, do you have any like their language, or they teach Indonesian how to speak their own language, or some tradition that they have? Miss
you.
Yuni? Oh, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Andino ya, Ibu Anom.
Yeah.
Jadi, ya, tadi Mbak An menanyakan tentang, karena Indonesia ini tadi disampaikan pernah dijajah oleh Belanda dan juga Jepang, sama di Filipina juga pernah dijajah oleh Jepang. Nah,
Belanda juga ya?
Iya, Spanyol, Amerika, dan Jepang itu yang disampaikan.
Yes.
Oh.
Here in the Philippines, yes.
Spain, United States,
Nah,
and
itu
Japan.
kemudian yang ditanyakan adalah apakah ada regulasi atau suatu bentuk apa yang diadaptasi dari masa penjajahan Jepang. Apakah regulasi atau apa yang begitu?
Oke, jadi kalau regulasi kita mengadopsinya dari Belanda semua, Bu. Dari Jepang kita tidak menggunakan ya, karena kan waktunya juga tidak terlalu lama, hanya singkat, dan itu Jepang belum juga berhasil menerapkan aturan yang baru, karena di masa Jepang pun masih banyak menggunakan di masa Belanda, begitu. Jadi kita
Oh, ini.
tidak ada.
Okay, Miss Andinoya.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Indonesia was colonized by Japan in only like around 3 years. So it was just a very short time comparing to the Dutch colonization, which is like 3.5 centuries. So at that time, the Japanese government has not yet implement any rules or has not yet succeeded to implement any rules from Japan. So for now, Indonesia still using or still adopt the Dutch regulations, even like the commercial code, the civil code, we still use the Dutch law.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay. Thank you, Mr. Anom.
yeah, you're welcome. Maybe any other question? Or maybe most of you can share what kind of Japan law or maybe any other colonization inheritance law, perhaps, or yeah. Maybe
Any other question, maybe?
Yeah. Bu Anom?
There is 68 students in our Zoom.
Barangkali bisa ditanyakan juga, Bu. Tadi kan ada autonomous place, autonomous island where they use Islamic law. Mungkin what kind of Islamic law that maybe they can share.
Oke, siapa tadi yang bilang Bu nih? Mbak
Ken,
Juan
ya.
Ken ya? Ken?
Yeah.
You can share more about this information, Ken, for the autonomous tadi atau autonomous
Islamic law ya.
Islamic
In
law
certain island.
for all the participants. We want to know more about your information, Ken. Ken.
Hello, Mom. Honestly, I don't have any extensive knowledge regarding the autonomous region, since I did not study it carefully. But I do have a question, Mom. Because here in the Philippines, I met some people or some youth leaders coming from the Mindanao, or coming from the Muslim communities in the Mindanao, and they are concerned regarding the Redo culture. Redo culture. Does it happen on your country, or it is the Redo culture? The clan feuds, then
Okay, so you're questioning whether any other cultures in Indonesia? Is that?
Is there a Redo Rido Rido culture? It's a clan feud. We're in
Rido culture.
Yeah.
Rido, budaya Rido, Bu. Is that the term that you learned from Islamic law?
Yeah. It's a term that I learned from the people in Mindanao. It's a clan feud. Is if there is someone coming from one clan that killed another one, then his family need to avenge that specific person or that clan also. Is that happening also in your country, or it is only us?
Okay, yeah, thank you. Sorry, Miss Lelin, could you please turn yeah. Ya, Bu Anom. Jadi ada pertanyaan dari Mas Ken terkait dengan budaya ridho. Itu kata yang beliau pelajari dari orang-orang Mindanao. Ibu masih di mute.
Ikhlas ya mungkin ya.
Iya,
Ridho.
mungkin ikhlas ya.
The similar meaning ridho is
Sincere.
ikhlas or ridho in Mindanao, Kens. Terus questionnya apa Bu nih?
Jadi pertanyaannya adalah di Indonesia ini ada, jadi Mas Ken itu pernah dengar nih dari orang Mindanao, ada budaya ridho, RIDHO gitu kan, ridho, which is we know as ridho gitu. Nah di Indonesia ada juga nggak budaya ridho itu?
Oh kalau I think belum ada Bu nih.
Nggak ada ya.
Nggak ada.
Itu kayak apa? Mungkin dari agama ya, itu lebih ke pendekatannya agama Islam kan. Kalau
Religious.
kalau regulation nggak ada ya.
Nggak ada. Kalau ke regulation, we have no regulation about
something like ridho. Tadi dia nggak mencontohkannya, misalnya ada orang yang membunuh orang lain, terus dia si korban, keluarga korban ini dianggap ridho, apa namanya, menyerahkan sepenuhnya begitulah
masalahnya,
permasalahan untuk penyelesaiannya. Kayaknya nggak ada ya. Kalau pidana kita tetap
iya kan deliknya itu ya. Kalau pidana kan, kalau pembunuhan meskipun keluarga udah itu, pembunuhan tetap diproses kan Bu.
Ya. Okay, Mr. It's Ken. Am I right? Ken Tungala. So in Indonesia, the term ridho, which you mentioned before, we know it from the perspective of Islamic religion. So we have no kind of regulation that have ridho terms or something like that. We know it from the religion, and because we have like this majority of Islamic people, so the term ridho is mostly used for mostly in the religious activity. So it's not that about culture, but it's more like on the religious behavior things. And most of the like the criminal things that you have an example before, we still use the positive law, which is Indonesian law, which was adopted from the colonization era from the Dutch. So yeah, that's what we can say.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah.
Joanna, you raise hand.
Yes, ma'am. My apologies. Go, ma'am. Am I still audible? Am I audible na, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for the answer a while ago, ma'am. I've heard it, but my internet connection was not stable. So, now I heard that it is. I'm gonna give information, ma'am, about the Japanese colonization here in the Philippines, ma'am. Just what I have said earlier. I don't know if you have heard it, but it is very unforgettable for us, the Death March, ma'am, and all the negative things that happened in that era, ma'am, or the period, ma'am. But as I read some readings, ma'am, I learned that the Japanese colonization have gave us positive attributes to, like they focus on the structural economic system, ma'am. Like they have build many infrastructures, ma'am, here in the Philippines, and especially, ma'am, here in my town, ma'am, they have built schools, ma'am, and also they have enhanced the skills of Filipino people, ma'am. And I guess they have, even though that they built give us trauma, ma'am, still they give us some infrastructures and the skills that they trained us, ma'am. And compared to the American, ma'am, which focuses on education, the Japanese colonization, ma'am, is all about the economic, ma'am. And that is all what I can say, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Miss Joanna. So that's what happened in Philippines. Miss Joanna? Ya, Bu
Yes,
Anom
ma'am.
mungkin Bu Anom mungkin akan memberikan respon. Jadi dia menceritakan tentang penjajahan Jepang di Filipina begitu.
Selama berapa tahun? For how many years?
For how long the colonization of Japan?
It's not that very long, ma'am, but it's still long, ma'am. I forgot the exact years, ma'am, but still the Spanish, ma'am, has the higher years compared to the Japanese, but still the Japanese have brought so many traumas, ma'am.
Oke. Dia nggak hafal sih berapa tahunnya, tapi dia bilang penjajahan Jepang itu juga memberikan banyak trauma pada orang-orang Filipina gitu karena mereka fokus di pengembangan ekonomi dan infrastruktur. Oh, 300 plus years from Japan dari Renz. Maybe Renz, can you give? Oh, Spanish.
Spanish.
Yes,
More than
ma'am,
100.
Spanish.
Spanish.
So Spanish is like 300 more years. What about Japan? How long?
Like Netherlands in Indonesia,
Yeah, like
350 years.
That's why we mostly adapt lots of Spanish culture.
Yeah. So it's just hampir sama dengan Indonesia ya, almost the same like Indonesia. We were
Long.
colonized by Netherlands, like in 350 years. Ya, mungkin ada 3 years Japanese colonization kata
Mel, your right hand.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Morning, Mel.
Yes. So the Philippines are colonized by the Japan during the World War II in the year of 1942 and 1945. So it's 3 years of colonization of Japanese here in the Philippines.
Same with Indonesia. 1942
Yeah.
until 1945.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the same with Indonesia in around 1942 to 45, where Indonesia has its Independence Day. And maybe it would be also the same trauma that the Japanese armed force gave to Indonesian until now. That's why maybe if I may, Bu Anom, untuk menambahkan sedikit, that we also have like Lawang Sewu or something like that, which has a historical touch that it used to be the prison for the Dutch army, used by the Japanese one, that it has lots of like torturement and so on. So yeah, it gave lots of trauma, not only for Indonesian, but also for the previous colonizer. Ada pertanyaan, Bu. Did some Indonesian women marry Dutch or vice versa? I think many ya, Bu ya.
Tidak terdata.
Yeah, yeah, undetected, like probably a lot. Yeah.
Saya rasa pasti ada, Bu Uni. I think pasti ada lah ya.
Pasti ada ya.
Tapi tidak ada tadi.
Yeah. Do you mean during the colonization or after independence? Miss and Dinoya. You look all pretty. Thank you. Yeah. I think we maybe most Indonesian and Dutch were having a mixed marriage, because we also have Indonesian private international law ya, Bu Anom ya. We have also a private international law that governed one of them is like a mixed marriage between Indonesian and other nationals. So yeah. Maybe Mr. Kent, you were raising your hand.
May I ask, ma'am, in that occupation of Japanese in your country for almost 3 years, just like us, in their occupation to us, they have a state-sponsored or Japanese-sponsored government wherein they have their own or they have their own constitution um, which was being implemented here at our country during their invasion. How about in your country? Does they have also the state-sponsored government wherein they implemented their own drafted constitution or not?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kent Tungala. Bu Anom, jadi mohon izin. Ya, pertanyaannya Mas Kent, pada saat zaman Jepang di Filipina itu mereka memberlakukan ada konstitusi Jepang tersendiri waktu itu di sana. Nah, kalau di Indonesia apakah ada konstitusi yang diberlakukan oleh Jepang waktu itu?
Okay, thank you for your question, Ken. In our material, okay, let me to open my document in the Japanese order. In Japanese Army period. I will deliver the material about Japanese Army period. This is Kansere, Kansere, the Kansere statute, Kansere statute. In the material I will share, yang sudah saya share tadi ya, Bu Uni ya, itu ada implementing governance in Indonesia in accordance with the Kansere statute. Jadi ada ya, there's a regulation, the name is Kansere statute in the Japanese Army period.
Yes, Mr. Ken Tungala. So yeah, during the Japanese colonization, there was a statute implemented in Indonesia, which is called as, I believe it's in Japanese, it would be pronounced as Gunsere, that was, but it was written in Mem Anom's materials. It's Gunsei, which is Gunsere. I wonder whether it's the same with Philippines one that is called as Gunsere, or different. What was the one implemented in Philippines?
I did not study it, ma'am. So or according to our gazette, it is not like that. It is stated as the 1943 Constitution only.
Okay, it's Gansere. Oh yeah. Ini ya Bu ya. Ya. Ya, Bu Ano mungkin mau masih di mute, mau menjelaskan langsung.
Okay, this is the composition of the judiciary based on Kansere consists according to the Kansere statute ya. District court, and then judge police, kabupaten court, kawadanan court, high Islamic court, and then religious meeting, and then high court prosecutor. This is the material of Kansere statute was implemented in Indonesia during the Japanese army period. And that's all, Ken, for me. Maybe any other student want to share more information or
Bu Anom, there's a question from Miss Diana in the chat. Diana Destreza. What is the biggest impact of all those different countries' colonization regarding Indonesia's legal system? Dampak terbesar dari penjajahan negara-negara terhadap sistem hukum Indonesia ya.
Oke, saya rasa langsung saya jawab in Indonesia ya Bu Uni ya. Saya rasa dampak terbesar dari penjajahan Belanda 350 tahun, Jepang kurang lebih hanya 3 tahun terhadap pembentukan sistem hukum di Indonesia itu sangat tidak bisa dipungkiri, itu besar sekali ya kalau dikatakan. Apa yang paling besar dari dampak penjajahan itu, tentu dulu masyarakat kita kan masih berbentuk kerajaan-kerajaan. Nah, memang kerajaan-kerajaan itu kan sengaja ya, politik divide et impera ya, yang harus kita highlight di Indonesia itu kan kita sudah ditanamkan divide et impera oleh Belanda untuk mempermudah Netherlands itu menguasai Indonesia. Jadi itu barangkali yang sampai sekarang itu masih menjadi bumerang untuk kita. Jadi di era kemerdekaan pun kita masih terpecah belah gitu, sehingga sulit sekali membentuk sistem hukum yang betul-betul merepresentasikan seluruh masyarakat Indonesia, karena kita terbiasa dulu beratus-ratus tahun itu dipecah belah terus gitu. Nah, sehingga itu menyulitkan berbagai ideologi tadi yang ada nasionalis, ada religius, kemudian dulu ada komunis, kalau sekarang sudah dilarang ya komunis. Nah, itu sebetulnya dampak terbesar dari pembentukan hukum itu, karena hukum kan seperti yang saya share tadi, untuk fungsinya kan untuk kepastian, kemanfaatan, kemudian keadilan. Nah, itu karena model penjajahannya itu divide et impera, maka ya menjadi sulit membuat hukum yang betul-betul bisa adil, bisa bermanfaat. Seperti itu kurang lebih Bu Uni, itu dampak yang paling dirasakan ya sampai sekarang itu kan, wah di DPR sering kayak gitu itu kan dari divide et impera itu. Iya itu.
It's like a centuries of ideology ya Bu Anom.
Iya, jadi itu yang terbesar ya sampai ke level yang bawah,
Okay.
Low level juga.
Miss Diana, can you just say hi or hello so that I can see your face?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mom.
Yeah, hi, Miss. It's Diana, yeah, or Diana.
Diana, Mom.
Diana. Okay. So I'm trying to explain what was the answer from Bu Anom, Ma'am Anom, about concerning your question. So what is the biggest impact of all this colonization? So if we're talking about the Indonesian legal system, we need to first remember that the most important function of legal system is to create justice, certainty, and as well as benefit of all others. But then the biggest impact that we can still see on this day, even though it's been like 75 more years we already have independence, is like during the Dutch colonization, we have this so-called as ideology of divide et impera, which means that we were Indonesia previously, we were consist of kingdoms, a lot of kingdoms in Indonesian territory. We have, as Ma'am said before, Kutai, Sriwijaya, Mataram, and so on and so forth, which it of course divide the Indonesian territory into several territories of kingdom. And during the colonization of Dutch, this kingdom is still exist, and that's why at that time we were having a ideology of divide et impera, that we are divided into some places, we are divided into some area, and that's kind of ideology is still exists right now, that we are divided into some thoughts, some kind of different ideology and different um, different thinking about something. So that's why it's very difficult to combine the differentiation of this kind of ideology into certain kind of discussion to make a good regulation, to make the just regulation, to make the certainty regulation, or the regulation that can benefit to others. That is the biggest impact, that we still have this kind of thought as divide et impera thing. We can see right now that in House of Representatives, in legislative um, level, when we were making any kind of regulation, there were so many interests, so many discussions, so many different thoughts on certain things, and that was one of them, was because we have this um, thought of divide et impera, which is brought by the Netherlands. So I think that was what Ma'am Anom said about the biggest impact. So
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I really appreciate your answer.
yeah, thank you, Miss Diana Destreza.
Well, I want to answer the question from Endinoya.
Yep.
The question is, what is Kabupaten Courts? Kabupaten Regency, we call Regency, is part of the regional government, which is part of the province. Its province consists of several districts. And then Kabupaten Court itu pengadilan negeri, Bu Uni.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jadi kan di kabupaten ada pengadilan negeri, di provinsi ada pengadilan tinggi, and then the finally Mahkamah Agung, seperti itu.
Oh yeah. So Miss Endinoya, kabupaten, the term kabupaten means regency. So as we are a union state, we are united by the province. We have like around almost 40 provinces in Indonesia, and each provinces, it has a lower regency, which is called as kabupaten or city or kota in bahasa. So it's kabupaten or kota. So in terms of the court, kabupaten court, we call it in English as district court, because that is the first level of the court. So if people have any issue in regards with it could be civil issue or civil lawsuit or maybe criminal case, you go to the district court at the very first level. And then if there is something like appeal from any party, you can go to the higher court, which is located in, or it has authority in the province level. So the first one is district court in regency level or city level. And then you can go to appeal for the higher court in the province level. And if you want to go to further legal effort, you can go to secession, which is in Supreme Court. So that is the highest court, is Supreme Court in Jakarta, in our capital city. For now, it's in Jakarta, but we don't know whether in the future we're going to move to another city. So that's what happened, and that is Kabupaten Court.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Bu Uni, bisa kita akhiri ya? Sudah.
Boleh.
Sepertinya sudah tidak ada pertanyaan. There is
Boleh.
no question from the participant in the room chat. I think for today, for our material about Indonesian history. Thank you for your attention today. and I hope you can enjoy your short course for the next material for tomorrow morning. I think more information you can get in our short course. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Thank
wabarakatuh.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Enjoy your short course.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Mbak Vina, there's
Ma'am,
a
can I
question.
ask my concern, ma'am, about our some participants here? There are three of our participants here in CAPSO, ma'am. We're not on the list, ma'am, but they already submitted the requirements, ma'am.
Oh, so you're questioning in regards to the technical issue, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Uni bisa foto bersama dulu nggak?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Jangan keluar dulu.
We
Don't
will
leave
try.
the chat.
Okay, I will communicate to the committee for your question, Mr. Mark Oleno. But maybe can we just take a picture for a moment first? I'm sorry that we forgot to take a picture. Would you guys please open your camera so we can take a picture? Mbak Vina, would you please help us to take a picture in each screen? So yeah. Mbak Vina, would you please give a guidance? 1, 2, 3 or something?
1, 2, 3. 1. Okay, thank you very much for all the participants today. Enjoy your short course and
Yeah, thank you, Bu Anom.
okay, thank you very much, Bu Uni.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Yeah.
Anom
Mr.
and Ma'am Uni. I would recommend to you all, don't forget to fill in the presents because only 65 that fill in the presents. Thank you for your attention. See you later.
Mbak Vina, mungkin nanti bisa minta tolong disampaikan ke panitia tadi Mas Mark. Mr. Oleno, Mark Dave Oleno, could you hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please state again your problem in regards to the technical issues?
Some of our participants, ma'am, there are three of them. We're not on the list, ma'am, but they already submitted their requirements, ma'am.
It's from the capsule or you sent?
CAPSO, ma'am.
Capsule. So Mbak Vina, would you please extend this information or this question to the committee? Jadi ada dari kapsul ya, beberapa dari kapsul tuh belum ada di list. What list you mean? On the group or what?
In the list where the username and the password and e-learning, ma'am.
Okay, so they haven't got any e-learning username as password.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Ya itu ya Mbak Vina, nanti tolong disampaikan. If it's possible, maybe Mr. Mark, you can manage the list of the names that haven't received any username or password, so that the Mbak Vina, as the facilitator, can extend the information to the committee in charge.
I will send it on WeChat, ma'am.
Okay, WhatsApp. Okay, yeah. What about
Yes,
Miss
ma'am.
Anna? Yeah, Anna Bellera. Miss Anna.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning again, ma'am. I just want to ask something.
Yeah, please.
Can we already send our assignment, ma'am, without the student ID, ma'am?
Okay. Is it okay, Mbak Vina, to submit the assignment without the student ID? Have you got the student ID, Mbak Ana or guys?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet, mom.
Okay, so you haven't received the student ID, so it's gonna be impossible for you to submit assignment with student ID, yeah.
Mungkin
I asked some of my classmates here, ma'am, in the Capsu Pontevedra, and they said they already sent their assignment without the student ID. So I hesitate if I send my assignment without student ID
Okay, I think if
because
you have, yeah.
because I saw it. It's only one attempt to send it, so I didn't yet send my assignment because I hesitate to send.
Yeah, I think because you guys haven't received any student ID, so it's gonna be okay for you to send it before because you haven't got any student ID. So we can try to identify by your name. Is that clear? Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mem,
Yeah.
Umi,
Yeah.
mungkin terkait student ID emang dari kemarin tuh ada yang belum kan, Mem? Kayaknya emang belum ada.
Ada yang belum atau mereka memang belum dapat semua?
Kayaknya belum dapat semua, Mem. Soalnya kan dari kemarin.
Karena memang belum diregister
Iya,
sih. Jadi ya, should it be okay, Mbak Vina, kalau mereka submit tanpa student ID karena mereka belum dapat kan? Jadi logikanya.
Iya, saya kira juga nggak apa-apa sih, Mem.
It's okay,
Mungkin
Mbak
nanti yang akan saya sampaikan yang di e-learning sama yang student ID yang ditanyakan.
Oke.
Ya. Makasih, Mem.
I'm sorry to call you Mbak Ana ya, because Mbak means miss in Indonesia, so I usually call my student as Mbak or Mas in English. It's Miss Ana. Yeah, so it's okay. Okay. I think if there's no more question, we can close this session today, Mbak Vina.